I chose to look at the osteoporosis treatment distribution among postmenopausal women. My media statement is a tremendous gap from the medical magazine Medscape, and the distribution of fracture risk status in osteoporosis treatment is the journal article that supports it from the International Journal of Endocrinology. The purpose of this study, as stated in the media statement and journal article, is to investigate the hypothesis that the actual proportion of medication postmenopausal osteoporotic women, or PMO women, are being prescribed does not match up to osteoporosis diagnoses or address the risk for fracture categories in those patients. More generally, women identified as eligible for osteoporosis medication are being prescribed non-recommended medication or none at all. The overall goal of this study was to examine the distribution of medications among PMO women. This retrospective cohort study examined the prescription status of PMO women, if they were treated and if that treatment is a recommended first-line osteoporosis treatment. This was further broken up into the level of risk of fracture each patient was identified with. Using commercial and Medicare Advantage health insurance records for each of these, subjects were determined to be exposed if they were eligible for osteoporosis medication and met inclusion criteria. Their outcome was their treatment status, if they were prescribed medication and what kind. Given all of these diagnoses and treatments had been issued and recorded in the past, and the researchers were accessing this information retrospectively and following them through time to identify medication outcome, this is a retrospective cohort study. The findings of this study revealed that the majority of women across risk categories were prescribed bisphosphonates, not a first-line treatment, while the recommended treatments only accounted for 43.7% of the osteoporosis medication prescribed to PMO women. The major issue of this study is the movement of patients from controls to cases. As defined in the journal article, incident cases were counted for in the untreated group, even when patients transferred from untreated to treated. This is because the initial period for patients to be identified as having the outcome, being treated, was between April 2016 and September 2023. However, during the period of October 2021 to January 2023, it was possible for those in the untreated category to be put on treatment, but still counted in the untreated category. This drives the number of people in the untreated category up, beyond what it actually was. This is a non-differential misclassification of the outcome, showing more PMO women were improperly prescribed medication than is actually the case. If they had included women who began receiving treatment, then it's possible the gap between prescriptions needed and prescriptions filled would have been significantly smaller. This particular threat to validity is acknowledged in the methods section of the article, telling us very clearly that incident cases, patients starting treatment in that particular time period, were counted as part of the untreated group. This would clarify for the reader that the results of the study are shifted towards a result of more women being improperly treated. The researchers work towards minimizing this validity issue by having a large window of outcome assignment compared to a smaller area of misassignment, that orange bar that you'll see here. The claims made in the media statement are actually a little misleading given this error. They don't discuss the women who changed outcome groups. However, the overall message of the media statement and article is still true, just not to the extent that they're saying, especially in the media statement. The results listed in the media statement and journal article essentially agree with each other, with the media statement not going into as much detail about the methods and technical results and going more into the greater impact of the findings. The overall takeaway from this research is that there seems to be some evidence that postmenopausal osteoporotic patients are more often not being prescribed the recommended first-line treatment.